much. Speaking of pictures, it might be a great time to take some pictures of some birds out in the snow. And speaking of birds, this is a really interesting story that you have discovered. I want to introduce to you Elizabeth Gehrman. You're a Buffalo native, now living in, well, we're living in Boston, now back in Buffalo. You've written a fascinating book called Rare Birds. Talk to me about what this book is about. It's interesting.
Well, it's about, there's a bird in Bermuda that nests only in Bermuda, and it flies around for 90% of its life. And they were believed to be extinct from the 1620s until 1951 when they were rediscovered. And the guy on the cover, his name is David Wingate. He was along on that expedition. He was 15 at the time, and he devoted 60 years of his life to bringing the birds back, and now they're sort of coming back. It's a slow process.
What do you find fascinating, or what kind of caught your attention, or why do you think the story is important?
Well, the whole story. When I had been going down to Bermuda, I went down to do a travel cover for the Boston Globe magazine, which I work for, and just discovered David's story and everything about it. You know, this guy was 15 when he found the birds, or when he was along with the scientists who found the birds, and he devoted his whole life to them and the history and geography and the weather in Bermuda and so many. Yeah, that's a cow. He really went through a lot, too. He battled DDT and hurricanes and predators and personal tragedy. His family lived out on this deserted island, which is now where the birds live. But he went through a lot for those birds.
What was your research process like?
Well, you know, I did a lot of historical research to find out about the history of Bermuda, but a lot of it was just David. He has been keeping diaries since 1949. And so he had everything that ever happened with the bird. And he's sort of a walking encyclopedia. He knows about the history and geology and currents and the botany and everything about Bermuda. So he was great. So
basically this bird, the cow, correct? They were extinct? They were
believed to be extinct. It turned out that there was a small population clinging to life in these really remote islets in Bermuda that are all rocks, and it wasn't a good habitat for them. So now they're back in their main habitat.
And they're doing much better. You said
they're doing much
250
better.
of them now exist?
They passed the 100 pair mark this year, which was a big turning point, and they think there's about 50 chicks out there somewhere. They fly around for 90% of their lives.
That was fascinating, 90%.
Yeah, they even actually sleep while flying. They turn off one hemisphere of their brain at a time.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they're cool, really cool birds, and they spend, I think they fly 5 times back and forth to the moon, the equivalent, throughout their lives. So basically,
sleep while flying. I kind of feel like I'm sleepwalking sometimes, but that's pretty amazing. And where can people again buy this book if they're interested?
It should be at all the Barnes and Noble stores and Talking Leaves, and probably other local bookstores too.
Elizabeth, thank you so much. Fascinating book, fascinating bird too. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you. Stay warm out there. It's freezing.
Yes, thanks.
Over to